Ron.
Oh, on and off.
How's it, man? Long time.
Yeah.
Looks like the other acts are there as well.
Yep. Hello, Paul.
Hey, Gregory.
Are you showing off your guitars here, my boy?
But these are just some of them. These are the ones my daughter don't want.
Yes, like there's a
Yeah, the black one is that's the Mick Thompson 7 series, signed by Mick Thompson.
Can you guys hear me okay?
6-string.
100%. How you doing, buddy?
All right, thanks. And you guys?
Lekker.
Good.
Great.
How's hey?
There we go.
Hey,
Yeah.
Justin. Hey, my brother. Good to see you.
Jeepers, look at that. Wouldn't it? Fucking hell. Good Lord. Okay. Black, my brother. How old have we got, man?
Fucking very old. I'm like a few months away from 60, my bro. So.
Bro, I've just hit 51. Can you guys see me? Hello.
Yeah, you're looking good.
Yeah, my bro. Trying, eh?
Justin, where you at, my brother? Where you staying?
But I'm still in Benoni, bro. I'm in quicksand. I'm still here.
Fuck. Okay. Just I believe once for Benoni, you can never leave, eh?
But when you're part of the Bermuda Triangle, you're sort of stuck in the place.
So I'll try to get Michael on as well, because Michael is also one of the original founding members of Sacrifist. But he is in Vienna, and he's currently busy with some major business thing, and he's got some business thing on tonight. So unfortunately, he won't be able to join us, which it's a pity, because it would have been nice to have Michael on board as well. But we've got Sammy.
Let's just recap. So, okay, Paul, you were one of the original founding members of Sacrifist, and Francois
Also?
Yeah, essentially also, but I did join later. I was still doing my last compulsory army year, so
okay.
right after that I joined. So every
But
time
it's
I was
basically-
in class, we had band practice.
Yeah, it wasn't really. I mean, Sacrifice wasn't actually really going that long before Sammy actually joined. Sammy is Francois. Sammy is a nickname which we'll get to just now, which is actually a very cool nickname. But if you hear the story behind it, but
Sammy's on
The
bass,
band
eh?
was-
With your guitar, or what, Sam?
Yeah, I was
Guitar.
on the guitar. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I
So-
still am. I'm not.
So, Greg, I don't know how you want to run it. If you want to start with Justin with Debauchery, I mean, they were actually, I don't know how you want to do it.
Yeah, I think because look, we've done Retribution, and I mean Debauchery is the other killer band, no pun intended.
Yeah.
From the in our stable of bands. So we've done Retribution, VOD, and so we got Debauchery next. So I think let's focus on Debauchery in the beginning, and then we'll see how the time goes, and we'll finish off, because we did some initial Sacrifice stuff with you, and we'll finish off the Sacrifice thing at the same time.
Perfect. Yeah, first of all, and you and Greg, I love what you guys are doing, man. I've been following it intently since the beginning. So thank you, Voice, for actually bringing something up. I am way chuffed, man.
Thank
I
you.
agree. It's very cool. Very cool.
Pleasure is ours.
Yeah, and Sammy, it's good to see you, bro. It's been a long time.
That's my friend. Yeah, dude.
I never knew your name was Francois, bro.
Yeah, no, a lot of people didn't know that.
Retribution was formed sort of 1990, just after Yuppie Pigeon Terrace Feeders. We're just going to catch up from there, and signed to Enos Records, and then Debauchery basically started at the same time, like 1992, eh? That's
92. Yeah. Fresh out of school, matriculated 91, I think. 92. Yeah. How it kind of started, Greg, we had our bass player at the time, Paul Cousins, rest in peace, my boy. He was playing for Helter Skelter. Now, back in those days with Stephen Clough, and he wanted a sideline band, and we wanted something a little bit heavier. And back in those days, I think everybody played for Helter Skelter from Benoni. I was going to sell T-shirts. I played for Helter Skelter, and I made a fucking fortune. But we always used to joke about it. But him and and Jimmy, we sat together and got Justin Longdon, who, when I first met him, could play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and about 3 weeks later, he was playing Damage Incorporated. Coming to band practice on his skateboard with a little Gorilla amp. I'll never forget it. It was fantastic. And I don't know, we got one song together, opened for Helter Skelter one night in, where we played with you guys with VOD there in Bromford. TJ's.
I think it was TJ's. I was thinking because Helter Skelter, I mean, they were more a rock band, eh? Yeah. Look, they were well known, eh? Fucking, I mean, everybody knew about Helter Skelter. Jesus.
It was on the Flying Circus album that came out back in, I think it was the late 80s, man, if I stand corrected. But yeah, so we went from there, and I think we had 2 songs, and they were horrible. I just learned how to play drums. I just out of school, bro. I hadn't even got, my voice hadn't even broke yet, and literally. And Mike was there from Urban, Mike Gill also, and he just said, "We like your style. Could you have a couple of songs by next week?" We thought, yeah, I've never been so excited in my life, bro, because Urban, I used to catch lifts, trains, whatever, just to go to Urban, because the first live band I ever saw was Odyssey. I think I was 15 or 16, and we caught a train from Benoni to Hillbrow, which you don't do now, by the way. Don't do drugs. I think we were doing drugs at the time, to be honest. But yeah, I was hooked. I was in, and that was it. It just took off from there. I don't know. It just spiraled for like 18. Debauchery was only around for about 18 months, 2 years, if I think back now.
I mean, who came up with the original idea, the name, and the logo? The young always wants to know about the logos, bro. the logo. A guy called Trevor. He was a friend of, I think, of Justin's. And Debauchery, I didn't think of the name. It popped out when Freddie Mercury passed away. And in the one article, they were talking about the debaucheries he had. And I thought, look, you can kill a name, man. Yeah. And that was it, bro. I thought, yeah, let's use that. And the next thing I know, there was a logo. And I had to learn how to play drums, which I still, to this day, I'm still trying. It's been a while. But it just, I don't know, it just took off. And then the next thing I knew, there was In-House Records and Philip Nell, and I just went along. I was just enjoying the ride. But did you guys have an idea of what style you were going to do? Because look, Retribution was doing that. We discussed it last time. They were doing that bolt thrower UK style of death. You know. Well, and you guys, to be honest, you guys went for a more, like Johan said, you guys went for a more like a Florida style of death metal.
You know why? Because on VHS back then, you guys probably all owned a copy of that VHS, that Thrash Till Death. Yes. And had the whole Tampa Bay thing on there. And we were like, do that, let's do that. And then sometimes I think with Jay, if the LSD kicked in with Justin, we'd end up doing something else completely different. But like I said, I was young, naive, and quite impressionable. So it was just...
How old were you, bro? At that time?
I was 18.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was 18. When I got on stage at Napalm, I was 19, and I don't think I've ever been that scared in my life. It's like you get that. It's like watching porn for the first time. You get this weird nervous anxiety, but you want to look, but you don't look. It was the same as that fucking night, bro.
Yeah, I was just looking. Your first gig was, well, the first one I know of was around about 1992, April, at TJ's Urban Assault, Debauchery, Prophecy. I don't know who the hell Prophecy is. Then you guys played places like the Summit Club. Yeah.
I think I've still got a poster on the wall. We weren't even on the poster. It was Mondior. And I think we only had about 3 or 4 songs, in all honesty.
There's more names coming up.
Yeah, and then from there, it just spiraled. Yeah, just spiraled. Like I said, we only had about 3 or 4 songs, and it went from, I don't know, learning how to play until a year later, we're trying to rip off Cannibal Corpse because that was it. You got to do that. And then we'd walk in and Justin's playing something that's like, that's a killer riff. And one of our first tracks that we ever did, that Legions of Doom, I'll say it in here, but I'll say it loud. It was actually, I think it was ripped off from Urban Assault. So,
I know exactly what riff you're talking about.
Yeah, dun, 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 dun. Yes, that one.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, yeah, like dun, 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 dun,
yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know, we were
Steve having a go at me in a pub in Boxburg, saying you stole that from us. But I said, well, I don't know. I'm just the drummer. Don't shout at me.
So I'll tell you, when we did that that Urban Assault reunion, we were jamming like all the Urban Assault songs, and we were playing that song, and we were going dun 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 dun, and we're like, fuck, what are we playing? Are we playing Debauchery or are we playing Urban Assault now? No, I was just laughing, but all in good fun.
I was there, Paul. I think I was looking at you at the time, bro. I was in the front there.
Yeah.
So Justin, right from the beginning, so Paul was there, you, Andrew, on vocals and guitar, and Justin.
Jimmy. Justin Longden, yeah. There was just the four of us. It was only the four of us. I think Justin was even younger than me. I think Jay was about 16, 17. Paul was older. Paul was the whole driving force in the beginning. I'm not going to lie. He was the one that pushed us into everything. We just sort of, he had the car so we could get around. He, my first drum kit, Greg, I tell you, was one of those little things that you buy in a toy store. I still remember buying it from my mate, Chris Thomas. He landed up in Debauchery. And we went, my mate, Adam Dingsdale, and I went up to about 4 or 5 Ks. We went and collected it with kit bags, and we carried it home. And I learned on that.
Fuck.
And then
it's like a basic 4-piece kit, basically a tom, snare, bass, and a cymbal.
No cymbals. We put shit together. I promise you, I had nothing. And then I remember Paul bringing in a Hoshino kit that I'd seen somewhere. I don't know if it was off the back of a truck or something. I think I ended up paying 200 Rand for it. And that was my first sort of live stuff. So I was very happy playing with Urban because Lawrence always supplied the kit.
Yeah.
And I'd go in, I was lending cymbals. I had, my parents couldn't afford shit like that. So I was lending stuff for my first couple of gigs, lending drumsticks, in all honesty.
Sounds similar to how VOD started with our kit as well. I think we bought it out for $80. Yeah. And we literally had no snare stand. It was just the snare was on a cardboard box. And then we had a broomstick with a cymbal that was so fucked. We hung chains from it to make it sound like a cymbal. One bass drum and one floor tom, and that was it. That was the fucking basic kit, But I mean, but you also chose to play one of the fucking hardest types of drums that you can play. I mean, that style of death metal is like, fuck me. I still don't know how James all got that right too, because old James was quite a big fellow at that time.
I haven't a clue, to be honest, but I was told that's what we're doing, and I was like, okay. And I'd sit and listen to stuff and go, right, okay, I'm going to be drunk to do this. And then, I don't know, I just ended up doing it, just trial and error, really.
Did you have a double bass pedal at that time, or was it?
No, I had 2 different size bass drums at one stage. So it's like, I was putting shit together, and the first time I saw a double bass pedal, I thought, that's fucking genius. And, it was, because I remember at Napalm, I think they gave me the Napalm's drummer because my drum pedal fucked out because it was still makeshift shit. And I walked on stage, put the drum, and I hit it, and the pedal fell apart. And everybody started shouting Napalm. I thought, that's it, I'm fucking off home. So
you guys were together about just short of a year when you played with Napalm. That was 1993.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a tall order, right?
Tall order, yeah.
Tall order, but I still to this day look back with great fond memories of how the fuck did we end up there? Because like you even said, at some stages we'd write some stuff that was really good and technical, and then we kill a ducks. So, and then there was a song called Beach, which the guys wrote on the way down to go play in Durban. And they said, we're putting that into the set. And I'm going, you can't play that. That's like Beach Boys. So you go from something really heavy, and it all just depended on the mood. So we were heavy serious and then just a bunch of kids. So, that's... But
it's amazing. It's amazing how, like a joke song, and I think every band's got a song like that. I think in case of VOD, it was Your Master Puss or whatever. It was a joke song. It was just a fucking joke thing. And it became like the song. And Killer Ducks is a song that everybody remembers of fucking Debauchery.
I remember coming off at Napalm and the drummer comes over and he goes, the fuck is that duck song? He said, I thoroughly enjoyed that. I was like, you're joking. Did you see anything else he did? I was brilliant. No, but
Greg, you talk about every band has that their joke song. Retribution tonight, we had a song called Short Song. It was like fucking literally.
And then done.
You like, you know how many times it's like that whole fucking vibe into the song, and short song, it's done.
Yeah.
It's like people are halfway up the stage and some are still pulling their heads back to start headbanging. Song's over, China. It's done.
I think Extreme Noise Terror and those bands are the killers of that. They used to write songs that were like 4 or 5 seconds long.
Napalm.
So this one was like 1 second.
What Napalm had that song, You Suffer. You Suffer. Finished. Yeah.
Basically, I think we might have covered it, but we just changed the words to short song.
It's an easy song to cover, bro.
Yeah, easy. If I can.
So tell me, Justin, so were you practicing at somebody's house or something like that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. What had happened was there was a couple of different practice rooms we had, and in Boxburg there was a record store with a basement, which is really, really cool. So the guy used to let us jam in the basement of that place until one night, I don't know, there was a pub upstairs and we ended up in a fight. Some guy beat the living shit out of most of us. And because we were just kids, apparently somebody said something to his missus. I don't know what happened, but I just remember we got blitzed. And then we weren't allowed to jam there anymore. And Justin's mom was very, very cool. So she gave us one of the rooms in the house and we soundproofed the shit out of it. So we practiced in there because we were playing live every week for about 4 or 5 hours a day.
Locally in Benoni and stuff?
In Boxburg, in an area you wouldn't go to now. It was like across the road from CBP in Boxburg. And we had this room, and literally Paul would come and pick us up every day. We'd rehearse and then come back. And that was just routine for about a year.
So how long before, from, let's say the band started, was, let's just say fictionally in January, so how long before your first gig?
About 3 weeks.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So you just
I had to do what was going on. So it just happened, exploded, and it was there.
Yeah, but now to continue that, when did you start negotiating with Philip Nell? And what was your experience in the studio?
Like I said, Paul had come from Halter, so he'd worked with Phil before, and he'd also done some stuff with him in the studio. So basically, Paul would just tell us what to do. He'd pick us up, we'd go there, I'd stand on my drumsticks and say, go play. And I would go play. And that was it. So, you know, we were young, impressionable. It was $100. I thought I was going to buy a fucking house. And it was incredible, you know. And we'd end up with Phil and then James and get introduced to James and Retribution, and obviously in there with Urban. And I was more awestruck. I was like starstruck because now I'm with Steve and Mike and everybody, and then Retribution's in there. I'm like, whoa, yeah, this is cool. So I didn't know what I was saying and doing half the time, to be honest with you.
This is just before the time that we all did that Black Cathedral and Other Stories video that fucking we all had to pose on the stage and
yes. Yeah.
I was watching you guys the other night, bro. I watched that whole video. Look, it takes a fucking effort now to watch the video from beginning to end. Yes,
yeah.
You really got to have commitment.
That was like a show. Yeah. That was like a showcase.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more, Greg.
It was so stiff, bro. We all had like a stand on the stage. We had some fake lights. It's almost like we had a gig, and then like the cameraman just stays fucking steady, and then Retribution starts. And it's got this fucking horrible, fuzzy old 80s cycling Retribution
and the smoke screen, the smoke comes out.
Yeah, and there they go, bro. And then Urban Assault comes on. It's like deadpan quiet, and then they kick into their song, and then Jaded comes on. There's Debauchery, fuck you, bro. It's like, yes,
is that material
really fucking good watching?
Is that material available somewhere online?
I've got the whole video online. I put it online already. I'll send you the link.
I need to have a look.
But bro, I promise you, Johan, you're gonna need about 2 fucking 6-packs of beer and football else to do to watch that entire video.
Like really nothing else to do.
100% Paul.
No, I've seen it way back then. I think we watched it at your place, Greg, back then, but I haven't seen it for ages.
Yeah, no, fuck. I watched the literally about just after the Retribution. I was looking for a Retribution track put on the last video. I started going through that, and then I just ended up watching the whole thing. But I mean, I really had fuck all else to do, and it was
I take my hat off to you, China.
So at that time, you then recorded your, I'm trying to think, your demo was called Legions of Death.
Legions of Doom, yeah.
So how many tracks was on that tape, bro? I never, in all the time, got a copy of that fucking tape. It pisses me off.
And you
Today,
should.
I don't have a copy of it. I would love it.
You should. I've got one, and if I listen to it now, oh my lord. You know, when from after years of experience, like 30 years later, you think back, all right, it sounds like somebody stubbed their toe. It was, I mean, there was stuff on there that shouldn't be, but it was there. Nonetheless, it was there.
Justin, you know what? I listened to the Retribution Unite stuff, and I think to myself, fuck me. How was this so cool 30 years ago? Oh, this was so fucking cool. When I listened to it 30 years ago, whenever, it was, thought to myself, man alive, anybody that listens to this must be thinking to themselves, Jesus, listen to this. Now,
it was very,
let's be honest.
At that time, it was fucking, it was the first death metal tapes produced in South Africa that came out of South Africa, the Retribution tape with you guys and Debauchery. They were the first death metal fucking tapes that came out of South Africa. It sounded, I mean, people were like in awe when they heard it, bro. Like, proper tape with a fold-out fucking sleeve and all that shit. It was well produced.
I've got some stuff here, Greg. You know, I'll show you now. But when I think back at that stuff, people were writing letters from overseas. We got from Salt Lake City, from Poland, from Germany, and through this underground tape trade that James and them had set up. You know, James was really good at that shit. Honestly, he was hats off.
Master.
And he had put up all these things, and I've still got the letters in here somewhere. Our first letter ever, bro, was written. Thought, okay, this is really neat. This is cool. This is fucked up. But it was all written in blood, and the guy had written everything down, and eventually it was starting to turn purple. I don't have that one here. It might be useful for some sort of CSI evidence eventually. But and then we started getting all these things, fan mail and whatnot. But all of a sudden, you think you're the shit. Meanwhile, you haven't a clue what's going on. But it was
good old letters, my brothers.
But you know what? You know what? That is one thing a lot of bands today won't have. I mean, Sammy, remember the fan mail we used to get? I mean, we used to get letters, you know?
Yeah.
And then the best thing is you sit down, because we had these letterheads, Sacrifist letterheads and everything, all fancy and bones and shit, and then you write back to them, you know, you post it back, and bands today won't get a letter in the mail. They open and you skim. Somebody took the time, sat down and wrote a letter to you.
Yes.
But you, Paul, the fuck up is, even if they had it today, it wouldn't arrive. We know that.
True.
It's not going to fucking arrive. But you know, I wanted to say at the last interview, when there was something about the whole tape trading thing that was fucking fantastic. Like, what we used to do, I don't know if you guys know this trick. It's an old punk trick. Old James knows this one. So if I send you like 10 demos in Poland, say, so what I do, I'll go buy my stamps, okay? And then I take soap. Before I go to the post office, I put soap all over the stamps. So when they stamp it and they send it off, now the guy on the other side, he does the same. When he sends his tapes back, he sends me my soap stamps back, and all I do is I wipe off the fucking the soap, and then I can reuse the stamps. And that's how we used to tape. We didn't pay for. We only paid the first time for the postage.
That's brilliant.
That's the way the old punks used to do tape trading. You know,
that's brilliant.
Yeah, and I'm sure James did the same shit, bro.
I never knew that, buddy. I never ever knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's late now, but thanks anyways.
Yeah. Oh, we got to do that.
Greg, I want to show you something.
Show me,
Greg, I've got this old. I'm sure you did. You at the Doors nightclub one night.
Finale Dead.
You walked up to me at the Doors, and you gave me this.
Was that
my son was going through some boxes the other day and brought out some old tapes. And I was like, bloody, where did you find that? And it was a Debauchery, it was a Retribution, Your Black Cathedral, Urban Assault, Don't Bother Running, and this tape which you gave me in my hand at the doors on the dance floor.
You know, I don't want to sound like Mark Vasma, bro, but you see, no, I don't have that. I don't even have my own fucking one of that. I mean, yeah, I would. That's incredible, bro. Like, yeah, that was in 1994. I think
That was the recording.
Yeah.
we did that.
We did that recording with old, what's his name? There in Tokai. Greg.
Old Andy from
The Andy recordings.
yeah,
Let's have a look.
from London Connection.
London Connection.
Justin, so your Legions of Doom, was it Legions of Death, eh?
Legions of Doom, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us, I think, know how many copies of full press, but I think it would have been at least 500 copies of each tape originally, I would think.
I remember when Phil pressed all this stuff, he used to go like at the Broomer Flea Market and a couple of the other flea markets, and he used to sell all this stuff, our stuff, and people were buying it. And I was quite amazed because, you know, you try that with anything now, but in those days it wasn't all Chinese mass produced. So you could sell all sorts of stuff. So people were selling secondhand goods, but that was a flea market. And I remember him having all the tapes there, the VOD, the Urban Assault, the Retribution, and all this stuff. And I was like, how many you sold today? Oh, well, one of those, two or three of those. And I was like, he put some time and effort in there, bro. I have to admit, he really did.
Absolutely. Was that demo reviewed and stuff like overseas and in some magazines and stuff like that? Or what's the feedback from that demo?
I fucking hope not. But yeah, I honestly don't know. Most of the stuff that was reviewed with us came off the Death of Africa.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
that was a classic. Yeah.
And the thing about that is there was a problem with Justin because Justin always did vocals, and I can't remember what had happened, but Jimmy took over vocals, and it was completely different to Justin. So he sort of took over the reins of vocals the last few months. I can't remember what happened, but I can't remember his voice or something, and he said, "I'm not vocaling anymore," because you can't call it singing.
Sorry to interrupt you, my brother. When you say Jimmy, you're talking about Andrew.
Andrew Copeland, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's his second name, Jimmy.
We call it because he's Scottish, so we just call him Jimmy.
Yeah.
You bastard.
Hey, Jimmy. Yeah.
Jimmy. And that was his nickname given to him when we were at school and whatnot.
Who wrote all the vocals or the lyrics and shit for you? Joint, or was it just?
Justin and Jim used to sit down and go through medical books and try and pick the most disgusting stuff and try and put it into some lyrics because that's what death metal did back in the day.
Yeah.
We had I would be given a name of a song and I'd go, what? I hadn't a clue even how to pronounce half of it.
Yeah, it was all like medical terms and shit. But there's a song of yours that I remember the lyrics for. It went something to the effect of "kill the switch" or "hit the switch, kill the bitch."
Yeah,
I remember that.
That was the song "Medium to Rare."
Medium to rare. Son, watch your right. It will be fun.
Hit the switch, kill the bitch.
Watch your right. It'll be
That
fun.
was medium to rare. Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah, kill the bitch. It'll be fun. Oh, we can go to prison for that shit now.
Nice touch.
Yeah, it was fun.
So how many songs did Debauchery put on that demo?
On that one too.
2 tracks on the demo.
No. On the first demo. Look, the whole thing. I think there was 12 tracks, and I think the whole thing was about 40 minutes long.
Jeez.
Yeah, because you have things like Killer Ducks and shit like that on there, which some of the tracks are. I don't think anything was longer than 2 or 3 minutes. You know, that was our attention span. So
and then after Death of Africa, I mean, and old James let us in that there was going to be a Death of Africa 2. I guess you guys also went in to record some of that shit. Was that like new material?
We were booked for it. We had some material for that. We were booked for it. Justin had a car accident, and he was in hospital for it. That was kind of the end of Debauchery after his car accident. I remember he had this yellow Beetle, and he drove it into a tree somewhere, or the tree got him. I don't know what happened. But we were booked for it, and then there was, I don't know, we just never went in. I can't remember the whole thing around it, but we just never landed up recording. I know you guys did, and I heard on the previous interview with Retribution, I think somebody was saying that Phil was going to pull the plug. James was saying Phil was going to pull the plug or something.
Yeah, he wiped all the tapes apparently. Yeah. No,
we didn't.
We didn't record for the Death of Africa 2. The last thing we recorded with Philip Null was "If I Had a Soul." That stuff for those 2 tracks for that Death of Africa. We didn't do anything as far as I remember after that. That was
You know what?
No, but didn't we
1994, I
didn't we do If I Had a Soul 3?
We're standing next to Mike Gill. And VOD was the
No, we
first time.
didn't. No, we didn't do. We put a Soul 3 in. No, we didn't record it there, Johan. We did. That was done on the album.
Is Sammy still nuts, Paul?
Fucking always trying to. He's calmed down a bit, but there's always that. You know that
With Jaded Jane when we toured with Sacrifist down around in Cape Town and Bloom and what? Yeah, oh my bro. Yeah, it was all.
Yeah, I was
fun.
going to ask you. So I was going to ask you, like, so pretty much after the death of Africa, you moved on to other bands, and the rest of the guys.
Yeah, what had happened was I got a phone call from Chucky. His real name Adrian Bowden, Chucky, and they had a band called Crimson Rose, and they wanted to start something else. So what I'm trying to remember the guy's name now. Paul, help me here, bud. Played for Urban at the Chris
Kotzer.
Chris Kotzer. He would put a band together. And he gave me a phone call. I wasn't interested because he wanted to go more in the. He said there's a bunch of grunge guys coming. I thought, hey, I'm playing Death, so I'm going to be really cool. I'm going to carry on with Death and blah blah blah. And they were practicing at the old in-house upstairs there when it was practice rooms after in-house. And Chris got me in there, and I'll never forget. They were trying out drummers one day, and I was at an ice hockey game just up the road at the Colton Sky Rink, and I thought, let me go down and see what they're doing. It was on a Sunday evening, and I walked down. And I could see some people outside the door, and I walked in. There was this young girl trying out with, and I saw Chucky there, little Chucky, and Chris Walsh, the bass player, and Chris Kotzer. And she stood up and she gave me the drumsticks. And I went, sweetie, aren't you supposed to rehearse? She goes, but you're the drummer from Debauchery. And I went,
Wow. Yeah.
Wow. And I sat down and we practiced one or two songs, we rehearsed one or two. And Chucky looked at me and he says, do you want to play? And I went, yeah, and that was how Jaded Jane formed. So yeah,
Lekker.
So
cool.
you moved directly into Jaded Jade.
Literally, I think my hair grew a couple of months. I had longer hair when I joined Jaded Jane, and Jaded Jane was about 94, I think. Yeah, Jaded Jane was together a lot longer, and we played a lot more. Obviously, Jaded Jane sort of developed. It was from Debauchery, it was leaps and bounds. I learned a lot more with Jaded Jane because by then we had a bit of experience. Chucky and then Sash joined us, Sash from Ragnarok and whatever else. And then Jimmy came in when Chris left. Jimmy from Debauchery came in as a guitarist. And when Jimmy decided,
what sort of style was it?
Jaded Jane was a mix of, I don't know, it was a lot lighter than Debauchery. So it was more of your,
like the Brothering, maybe, like something like that. Or
that kind of style.
To me, Jaded Jane was more like a pure metal band. There was no genre going off or anything like that. That's what I watched.
Yeah.
It was pure metal.
Yeah, metal. It was just, it was, I wouldn't even call it new wave because Chucky's vocals were also very sort of, we could sing.
Yeah, he could, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and he still does.
That band continued for a while,
Jaded Jane was about 6 years, I think, 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. And the rest of the guys, so Paul, you said he passed away. Is that later, or did he pass away shortly after that?
Paul passed away. Funny enough, I met Paul when we were kids when I played ice hockey, and he was a goalkeeper, and that's how we met. And he actually died on the ice on my birthday 3 years ago. Playing his position, he just dropped. He had a heart attack and passed away on the ice. So yeah, Jimmy is in the UK. I haven't spoken to him for a couple of years, and Justin is in the UK. Justin had a bad bike accident and lost some of his fingers, so he's learned how to replay. And I have to.
He lost his index finger.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And the other one was sort of cut off, Paul? I think the one was cut off. But
the index finger, I think he lost. The other one was cut off, but it looked like it was reconnected, but it's very short, very small and weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
I showed
there's two
it
guitars.
some time ago.
no, because
Let me show you
Justin.
something quickly while I'm at it, but you're going to have to check this out. I'll put some light on it. Now, see, this is the original
X-ray.
It's see-through.
Yeah.
The original one of this is actually see-through. It was printed on cellophane. It's
Cellulite.
printed on cellophane. This is one of the original covers, but I don't have the fucking tape of that finale dead. And here's something that will really bring back memories to you guys. Remember this fucking thing?
He's like, yeah.
Holy crap.
So,
This is that infamous fucking video, Johan.
All done. That's the same illustrator as the Black Cathedral cover. Eh?
I still don't know who did the original. I'm sure it was James, actually. I've got a feeling it was James.
Yeah, but
it could be. I think it was.
Yeah, but there was a little. There was a little insignia. There was a little insignia that said Sedidus. Wasn't there?
Mm.
Yeah.
Hey, no. The Oka did that. His name was Sid.
Sedidus. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that name. But
Sid.
I don't know who it was. Yeah.
Look
I can't remember.
Look on the artwork.
Sid. His name is Sid.
So who did your covers for? Because I mean, we didn't have a choice in our fucking Black Cathedral cover with Philip Nell. They just came up with it. Who did your guys' covers? Did you guys do your own covers?
James did our covers. Oh.
Yeah. Funny enough, on Legions, it was a little cartoon drawing I did from something. I don't know how it landed up there, but it landed on this. It was absolutely horrible, and it wasn't supposed to be there, but it was there. So I just went okay when I saw the tapes printed, and I was like, okay. And they'd say, who drew that? I don't know. It was me.
Let me show you guys this. See, this is the way we used to do covers in the old punk days. This is the VOD 7th. This is the original master. So this is actually just cut and paste photos and fucking typing on top.
DIY.
DIY, bro.
Photos.
No computers in those fucking days. It was crazy.
But it was so cool, bud.
Tell me something,
So cool.
Justin. Next question. In terms of gigs, were you pretty much limited to the Triangle scene, or did you ever venture outside?
With Debauchery, we mostly played here. I remember doing one or two. Well, I remember traveling to Dirt, and we met Art Matthews down there because he was drumming for Abhorrence, and he was on holiday there. But Art was still very young, and we landed up going back to his aunt's, and he wasn't very happy about this. I still, to this day, he was very scared. He invited one of us back, and we all went back, and it turned into one of those nights. And I still remember, I don't think Art's ever forgiven us for that, but anyway. But it was fun. It was fun. We had a great gig down there. I'm trying to remember the bands we played with. There's two local bands down there.
You guys played quite a bit. I mean, some of the places you played at the Simon Club. I know that TJ's, LSD, Escape Club, Stone Rose.
Yeah.
You guys played at Tattoos. And
yes.
I know you played in Pretoria too with And the Doors. You played at the Doors.
Yeah. No, Doors I never did with Debauchery. I did with Jaded Jane, but never Debauchery.
Jaded. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so no Cape Town, Namibia.
No. I did Cape Town and everything with Sammy. Sammy, I stand corrected when we did the Agony and Ecstasy.
Yes, it was Cape Town. It was
Cape Town. We were together there. We did Bloom. We did Valcom. You remember Valcom, bro? We got down. It was like 800 people.
I think we went after the show. The Sunday we went. This guy had a stall somewhere. Some freaking, I don't know, Buddha Mark or something that they were.
Yeah.
I remember going there the next day. Elm Street. That was the club.
Elm Street. That's right.
Elm Street. Yeah.
That was fantastic. And we had Mark there. And I remember in the one time in Potch and Mark and Mark Raffs, and then
Aggro was also there. Yeah.
Aggro was on tour with us on the A&E. That was Sacrifist, Morphosis, Jaded Jane, and we had didn't we have what's name with us? Yeah, we did, man. Because I remember in Potch it went down. The boys from
I remember the Potch gig. Yeah, I had Reds on campus. Yes.
Yes, and the boys.
What a twist town that, my bro. That's why I did my basics in the army in Potchefstroom. Fucking
Potchefstroom.
Yeah.
Rust. We wrecked the hotel there. I remember breaking into the nightclub trying to get some beers and using a mic stand to try and unlock one of the fridges. And what's name was in the...
At least you guys can say, and you look, let's the most Sistochis place of South Africa for when it came from metal, and I know there's a couple of bands that came from there. It was like Bloemfontein. I mean, VD never played in Bloemfontein fucking ever in all the fucking hundreds of gigs we did. But I mean, in Bloemfontein, what was that? It must have been a crazy fucking experience, bro, to play in a place like that.
Playing a shitload. Sammy, remember, they gave us an upstairs area to party in.
Yes.
And he bought all that those frozen shots.
Jellos or something. I can't remember. Yeah, was it Jellos?
Jellos, and we had
I don't remember that shit. Yeah, how can I forget it?
they called the cops on us in Potch. We're sharing a hotel. Do you remember the hotel they got us in Bloom? And it was just.
I've got stories about that bloody hotel, dude. I tell you, we did sound check, or I can't remember exactly what happened, but I remember going to the hotel. There, we walked into the reception area. On the right, there was the actual reception desk. And then you walk through past the reception desk, and there was like this weird curtain. You open up the curtain, and it's a full-blown pub in there.
Yeah.
I remember there was a song playing. Yes, yeah, you literally walk straight into the place, and if you walk straight past the desk, you walk into this thing. And I remember there was a song playing, some Afrikaans song like "Daar's 'n drol in die drinkwater" or something like that. I remember it clearly, dude. It was like so weird. Anyways,
you went in there and did something. You did something.
I started laughing. I just walked in there and I started laughing. So yeah, anyways. So we went up to our room. Ralph was still in the band. He replaced Michael at that time. And I remember us going up, getting ready for the gig and all that sort of shit. And we parked in the basement. And as the lift opened on the reception floor, on the first floor or ground floor, that whole fucking, I don't know where these people came from, but there was this more of a fight.
Yes, they fell into the lift, all right.
Yeah. I remember this one woman yelling like Murim Sarel or some shit like that. And I'm thinking if these people are if they turn around, they see us, they're gonna blitz them, I say.
But bro, I can imagine everybody turned up with those, those fucking shirts that they wear up in the Orange Free State, those dark khaki and with a light khaki sleeve, that sort of cut. And I mean, everybody turned up in Bucky's. I mean, there's not a car. Everybody's in Bucky's.
It was really so scary. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Sorry. We hit Cape Town on our first night. It took us 24 hours to drive down because Jaded Jam, we had a thing called Bush Pig, which is a Debauchery, and it kept breaking down.
Yes, you guys drove down, yeah.
Yes, and then when we got to the backpackers, the guy's name was Ditleaf that run the backpackers. And you guys nicknamed him Deadleaf. And he said there was no drugs allowed in here. There's no smoking pot, no nothing. And we go, okay, fine, I don't smoke at all. Weed jar. And then he shut the doors, and then he goes, okay, and he opens his bar up and he puts stuff on the counter and goes, go for it. I've locked the doors. And then I remember Vass, Sammy, I think you guys took 2 little plastic motorcycles on the pool table. Yeah.
I can't imagine a trip like that with Vass, my brother. It would have been chaos.
No, Vass is just chaos.
I remember him pissing himself because of the Bloom gig, the Reds on Campus gig. We did like a brief sound check and we started playing like out of the blue. We started playing like Survivor's Eye of the Tiger.
Yes.
The first section, he was pissing himself. That was a laugh. I remember
that. That was brilliant.
That was a joke and a half.
Greg, to go back to Yappie Terrace Pigeon Feeders, talking about Vereniging, we played a show at the old Vaal Hall, and there was a shitload of bands playing. It was like a Afrikaans festival, and I don't know, Simon Fools got us on there, and we were in the newspapers after that, but same story. We started playing, and there were chairs in the hall. So we started going on, and they started taking the steel tables and folding the feet out and laying them flat with the feet pointing out.
Going forward. Yeah.
Forward on the floor against the stage, and there were a lot of old people sitting on chairs around the edge of the hallway, of the wall, and we started playing, Chana. Fucking, we had to stop for them to clear the old people out because they were throwing children. The Oaks they were throwing children. They were throwing old people. You were seeing teeth and shit fucking all over the place.
I guess it's hijacking. I think the only gig that I ever remember playing in my entire life that was similar to that, there were two. Johan will know the one that we played in Switzerland. It was like a sit-down gig. We played sit-down in a fucking little tiny restaurant on this big fucking tour with Catatonian in the woods.
But
like, yeah, it was a fucking weird place, bro. And then when VOD was still a punk band, we went to play at the Coburg, I don't know, some sports club. And I think it was like VOD's third gig or something. And we were full on punks. I mean, I had shaven hair with Meekin with chains and fucking leather jacket with studs. We were full punk band. And we walked into this fucking place. And as we walked out on the stage, there were fucking tables with little white cloths with candles. All these old people sitting around these fucking, and they were like 8-9 punks from the local town, Melkbos Strand or whatever, who was at the gig. And for them, it was like fucking fantastic. But the rest of the people were like, whoa, what the fuck is this?
I've had some of those scary ones, man.
So, Rob, what are you doing now, my brother? After Jaded, what happened?
Well, from Jaded, we still got Monkey Finger going. We haven't played live for a while. We've got Tinas Kutsias coming on bass because Derek, my best buddy, he moved. Derek was the bass player for Morpheus. Then he joined Monkey Finger, and we still got that. He moved to New Zealand 2 years ago, so we just haven't. We keep threatening, but it's just idle threat. We haven't started rehearsing. We might one day before I hit the old age home or fucking something, Shady Pines. But hopefully I do it before then. So I had a tattoo done yesterday.
Name for a band, Monkey Finger. But what is Monkey Finger about?
Monkey Finger. Well, that was the remnants of everybody, to be honest. Mark Gardner, myself, we had was like a 7-piece. So we started more like a new age kind of thing. Monkey Finger. After that, like rap metal, and then the one vocalist who did the rap start, he moved to Cape Town, Brian, and we landed up with Craig vocaling for us, Craig McNeilis, and we're still there. We still got our group. We talk in the group, but we've done fuck all rehearsal. But we keep, like I said, we're threatening. So. And that's been going, I think Monkey Finger's been from about 20 years now.
Wow. Dirk was also part of it.
Yeah. Dirk was with us for a while. He came in on bass for quite a bit. Dirk was with us for a few years. Then Derek was in, then Dirk came in. Then we moved bass players a lot. And then Tinas, the tattoo artist from Aware Tattoos, he's back in with us by default because he bought all Derek's stuff. So we go, well, you bought his stuff, that means you're playing. So he did play with us for about 4 years. I'm talking, this is 15 years ago. So if he remembers any of the stuff, then good luck.
Fuck me. So, Paul, quick question. I remember one of the first times I made contact with you, or you and I sort of communicated. I used to wear a Retribution Denied T-shirt because I only had about 5 T-shirts in my cupboard at that time, and one of them was a Retribution Denied T-shirt. And some of the gigs I did in Cape Town, I used to wear your shirt, and you said, "Fuck." Dig that shirt, So, I mean, you guys obviously, Philip Nell didn't print that shirt because VOD never got any T-shirts out of
no.
records, nor a Debauchery. Was there a Debauchery T-shirt?
We printed one once. It got delivered to Durban for our Durban gig. I think we printed 50 shirts. Back in those days, it cost 1,350 to print a 6-colored T-shirt, and I never had one, And I remember Justin's father back in the day, he sent us some money from the UK to get them printed. So we had them done here. We had it done. Hey, Paul, Sammy, do you remember the old doors in Joburg and Marshall Street? When you walked out, there was that thing with the big pink, was it a rat? We had it done there, bro. Pink rat.
Oh, okay.
And I think we also had some T-shirts done there, but Brad Brad printed a lot of our T-shirts because he was doing like screen printing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he did some of the first Sacrifist stuff as well, Paul.
Yeah.
Right. I've still got 2 shirts from the Agony and Ecstasy, which Brad did. I've still got those shirts.
Probably, yeah. That's the era that it was in, yeah. So most likely, yes.
We did 2 years in a row. We did Agony and Ecstasy, and we did. There was another one. We did 2, didn't we? But the one we bought local.
I'm
trying to remember, but
yeah, no, I can't remember the. I remember that there was a bunch of gigs, but I can't remember if you guys were on it. Where Nuclear Blast actually sponsored the 1 or 2 gigs or something like that. In the Horacle days, the In Flames Horacle time. I can't remember if you were part of that.
I don't think we were. But Greg, I started saying something earlier. The first time I saw VOD was in TJ's, and I was standing next to Mike Gill, and I'd never seen you guys before, and I thought Retribution. I thought we were the shit because we were you guys walked in from Cape Town. I thought, how good could they be until you fucking started? And I hated you with a passion because you were so fucking good. And then Francois started and he did that whole hang thing. And and I looked at this and I thought, not only can they fucking play music, they can act as well. Fuck them.
Was he throwing out vinyl?
He was doing some stuff. He was throwing out a lot of abuse, and I was just, this is the band. And Mike Gill looked at me. He goes, "How fucking good are these guys?" And I said, "A bit too good for up here, bro."
Brother, I've told Paul the same thing. It's amazing how our fucking mindsets work when we were that young, eh? Because I used to go up to Joburg, and when we first walked into the in-house, I mean, we played 1 or 2 gigs in Joburg before with, I think our first metal gig was with Scarian and Ragnarok at like Club Image or something, like very early on in our career. We were punk band there, full-on punk band. We were no metal. But, I mean, I used to play with, like you guys know, I played with between 2 or 4 strings. That's all I had on my guitar. And when we started playing with Debauchery and those guys, I was like, Jesus Christ. When you guys used to sound check, I mean, I can play basic fucking punk style riffing fast and fucking my chopping and my timekeeping was immaculate in those days. But you guys had like fucking, you guys were like a wall of sound. And VOD was like a 4-piece band, just me on guitar at that time. And I was a very punk oriented guitar. So I felt the same way when I saw you guys like sound checking and shit. I was like, Jesus Christ. We're going to compete with these guys? Like, fuck. These guys are heavy, man. Like, fuck. You know, so I mean, it works both ways, bro.
Yeah, I remember you watching Deacon on bass, and he had that. That what was it? That Rickenbacker, was it? Yeah.
Deacon was something else, eh?
Yeah, he played the Rickenbacker. Yeah, at that time he was playing the Rickenbacker. Yeah.
I think it was only the 3rd or 4th gig when I actually got to see. I think it was the 3rd or 4th gig when I actually got to see his face, because he always had that wall of hair.
I remember our first gig with Abhorrence. You know, they were also part of the whole Inas Records deal.
Yes.
And we did some gig or some practice, or I was part of that video. I'm not sure, I can't remember exactly, but I remember Francois making a point saying, "Oh, these guys are a Christian band." So
yes.
So we played a gig, and they had a whole of their fans in the front. So he wore a T-shirt with a white cross.
Yes.
On top. And then halfway through, when these people really got into it, he tore the T-shirt off, and underneath it was like a fucking pentagram with an upside down cross. And their faces just went fucking like, what the fuck?
Because if you remember correctly, with the Barons, Art was the drummer, and Art's dad was a pastor or a deacon or something, and he used to come fetch him from the gig. Yeah. He'd have to finish because his dad's coming to get him outside. I just remember just watching you guys and just thinking, holy shit, this is completely something. Just your whole presence and your whole aura was something else. It came on later, like the Morphosis came just after us, and being in Benoni, we all knew each other very, very well. And sort of like Benoni was sprouting out stuff in Germiston. I remember with you guys, Paul. But it was amazing how many guys came out of here, and here we are 30 odd years later talking about it.
Yeah.
And we don't realize what kind of an impact it made back then, because people still mention it to me to this day.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I'm going to reiterate for the video's sake, just for people who have not watched previous episodes. I've always maintained, Philip Nell's input, whether we like or not like what he did or what he did not do, he put most of us.
Yes,
he was the first metal label in South Africa, and I always maintain. I said in Cape Town we had a band called Necrosis, who was the first death metal band from Cape Town. We were like the first thrash metal band from Cape Town, and in Joburg we had Retribution was the first death metal band UK style, and you guys death metal like Florida style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then obviously the only other band we haven't mentioned, like obviously is Urban Assault, which was a crossover band, and then Strider. Strider was like the fucking gods from Pretoria. I mean, they were, to this day, they're one of the most impressive bands. I mean, I went to listen to some Strider the other day again, and it just blows me away. These guys were musical fucking geniuses, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg, the way, if you actually think about it, with Philip Nell, like you say, some love him, some hate him. Everybody has their hearts feel about the man. But think about it. So Philip Nell he basically put everything on the line for us. Through him, we were there. Like us, Retribution in our Debauchery, you guys, those handful of bands that this man put everything out for. And the majority of the bands that actually came afterwards stemmed out of most of those bands.
Yeah,
100% sure.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah, what Philip Nell did give us, he gave us the first metal label where we felt like a family. We were all part of the In-House Records stable.
100%.
Warrants, Retribution.
Yeah. And
we were all part Strider. We were all part of that family.
You think about it. The rest of the bands that followed from there. I mean, we all found our feet with In-House Records, and then as we got comfortable into the thing, I started realizing, okay, this isn't really what I want to do anymore. I want to go into something a bit more technical, something a bit more refined. I'm going to start something, but as a project band, still stay with Retribution Denied, and then eventually the project band becomes a bit more of something you want to do more. Then leave the old, out with the old, in with the new. And I think a lot of oaks of us. I mean, like look at Justin that went from Debauchery to Jaded Jane. Yeah. A lot of us grew. That's how we grew. I mean, we found our feet. We were dumb when we were part of In-House Records. We were stupid. I mean, what did we know?
Yeah. Well, we were young and impressionable. We were listening to a lot of people giving us outside influences. You should be paid for it and that, blah, blah, blah. But I never really appreciated what was put into it till we had to go pay for our own sound systems and pay for our own stuff. Where in In-House, we would walk into a show fully got, there was the kit, it was all loaded, it was ready to go. We had a sound crew, and off we went.
Right.
Philip Nell went, and he said he hired all that shit. He hired the best shit that we could play with. I mean, and all the In-House Records gigs, he did an amazing job of setting those shows up. I mean,
definitely.
Good sound, the whole two. Fuck me. I mean,
Greg, we'd walk into it with the studios and whatever else, it was there. And then if you didn't, your other option was obviously one of the best. Everybody went to B Shop, so with Sammy passed away now. Old
JP,
Stephanie, JP. Frank, Sammy, the last time I saw you, Sammy, you were recording at JP. I saw you at the little shopping center down here. Yeah.
You know what? It must have been during like the Surveillance Plague album. Yeah, I think I recall that. Yeah.
Yeah, JP actually died in the middle of my False Idols project recording. He was actually going to do all the final mixes and stuff. He did 2 tracks and then suddenly, bang. Sad.
I gymmed just down the road here, and JP was there, and I remember him having the heart attack. He used to train in the mornings, and I used to see him virtually every morning, and then he stopped coming. And then I heard,
brilliant, He was fucking brilliant.
That was hectic.
Yeah,
that was. We never knew about being Robb Records before this, man. How long has JP been around before this happened, Johan?
JP.
I first heard of JP's stuff when I looked at the credits on Grunge and stuff, And that got me all hot and bothered because we were not getting the sound results we wanted in Namibia. And but sadly, we never got around to. We should have done it back at the time and just driven down to his studio and recorded there. But yeah, I was amazed at what he did with Groenchen.
Yeah. So our first Sacrifist track was recorded at B Sharp. Sammy, yes, that was 1992.
Yes, Debauchery, first track ever. Yeah.
Shadow of Slaughter.
All our albums, all the Sacrifist albums were recorded at B Sharp except for the last one. But everything, demos, you name it, it was recorded at B Sharp, yeah.
Well, JB was a very nice guy to work with, eh?
He even played on some of the tracks. A lot of people didn't know that he was a shredder. He was not just
he's brilliant. He was brilliant, that man.
Where was B Sharp Studios in where was it based in Benoni too, or
Benoni?
Small Boxburg, yeah, small Boxburg, yeah.
What I didn't realize is that when the whole Napalm Death King, they played 3 gigs in Johannesburg. You know that, Johan?
3.
So the first gig
I was amazed when I heard it the last time. 3 gigs, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you see, the first gig was with Retribution at the Escape Club and with Debauchery.
Wow.
Yes.
That was on the Thursday night. Yeah. Yeah. And then the second gig was with Strider at the Escape Club. I don't know where the Escape Club is, but that was on the Friday. And then on the Saturday they played with Urban Assault.
I've got the track. I've got it signed by the band. I've got it next to me here.
Nice. Bro, don't show Mark Verster, he'll buy it, bro.
Yeah, I'm getting it
wait, dude, I can't. They played with Zister.
Justin, what do you skim that poster as well?
I have no idea. Do you know where it was? It was in my garage on the wall, bro. And I took it down the other day because I had Jaded J and I've got old gig posters all lined up there.
Yeah, but what do you think that poster is worth? Eh? Like Napalm never came back.
I think a lot, true.
No. This has still got Jesse Pintado and stuff on there because he's passed away. And I've still got my backstage pass. Yeah. Signed by the band as well. I've got it here.
But Mick Harris wasn't the drummer. It was Dave Herrera, eh? Danny Herrera.
Yes. Yeah, it was Mick Harris.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Mick Harris.
Mick was on.
It was Mick.
Mick Harris
was on
guitar.
No,
Mick Harris.
No, that's
Mick Harris.
No, Mick Harris left the band before Utopia vanished, so he didn't do the tour. No.
The original drummer, yeah.
It was the American drummer, the American guy.
On that poster, it says on the 3rd or 4th one, it says they played with Zister. That's the Eastern Cape band from
Verster and Discord. Yeah.
Yeah, with Zister. And then the Durban gigs with Dementia, which I've been trying to get hold of for a while.
And Deranged.
Wow.
Can I tell you a quick little story about that? Because Barney Greenway came in before the rest of the band. And he was coming up to in-house to do a press conference. And the drum kit, where we recorded that whole, all those videos we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
In there was a drum kit set up and everything else. And then they said to me, Jay, could go behind the drum kit. I sat down. Justin was in there and Paul. We didn't have Jimmy with us at the time. I got a guitar. Who walks through the door? Barney. And he says, we need to play a song for the conference, but with that Birmingham accent, we've got to play a song, whatever. He says, do you know any Napalm? And I just looked at him. I went, fuck. And no, I don't. And he says, what do you know? And I had this video, a VHS video of him playing on stage where he went on with, he did Slowly We Rot with Obituary. And I said, I know Slowly We Rot. And he went, well, I did that with Obituary. And I went, I know, that's why I said it. And he says, can you play it? And he said, what's the only song we cover? So he said,
that's
play.
Precious, dude. That's precious.
And we did Slowly We Rot for a bit with Barney.
Wow, cool. That's so cool. Shit.
Yeah.
There am I, after the gig, sitting in Cape Town going, oh, fucking hell, my first real live experience of an international band, and you guys getting all these fucking opportunities.
Yeah, they spent 3 nights in Joburg. I think the Eastern Cape gig was in Port Elizabeth or something, eh?
Yes, it was here. It was Rapid Cape Town, Dungeon PE, and then the barn in Durban. No, it was incredible, that whole thing, because I'm in backstage and Cliffy from Agro, before they started Agro, he's like, "Can you get me in the back?" I was like, "Here, take one of these things."
What was your feeling about that? I mean, I know Carcass came about 2-3 months later. Carcass came down. I think Metamorphosis, I think, played with Carcass, eh?
Yes. Yeah.
And Urban, I think.
And Urban Assault too, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, your first big gig with the international band was also like us. Was the Napalm gig?
No, our first one with Sacrifist was with Entombed.
What?
Entombed. Okay, go. Okay, kick me in the teeth, boy.
Yeah, we opened for Entombed.
Wow.
They obviously only played in Jaded. They never came to fucking Cape Town. No way.
Dude, I must tell you, I always,
Amazing.
I always had this like thing about Uwe Sidelund, you know, fucking phenomenal songwriter. And I always said to my mom, you know, if there's somebody I would like to meet, you know, besides old Ingve and all those oaks, is Uwe Sidelund, and I would like to chat to him. So the night we opened for them, we were sitting backstage, and the backstage there where we played what Mega Music Warehouse was open. It was like outside, you know, and we were sitting on these park benches, and Uwe was sitting next to me, and I was so starstruck. Besides the language barrier, you know, and I was just looking at the sock. I was like a total fanboy, and I didn't really know what to say to him. Yeah, so I just sat there, and they're like, yeah.
Which album were they playing on? Was this obviously
Left
off the
Hand
Left Hand Path and all that shit?
Yeah,
There?
Left Hand Path.
Was that the time that they were promoting that album?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was around about that era, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember they did like a fucking 40-minute plus version of Left Hand Path. Jeez, it was something else.
Who brought them out? Because I mean, in Cape Town, we never heard about that shit. I mean, I didn't even know that Entombed ever played until you mentioned it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I think wasn't it Witch Doctor?
Yes, Witch Doctor.
Yeah, I'm sure it was Witch Doctor, yeah. Witch
It
Doctor.
was Witch Doctor, yes. Yeah, Witch Doctor.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Witch Doctor. I have to admit, I don't think VOD had any. We were going to play on that last festival they organized about a few years back, and I didn't know if the festival went ahead or not. I've got no experience of Witch Doctor, but I mean, they did some good work for South African metal too. Yeah. But they put on some fucking great festivals. So you guys obviously all played in those festivals, in some of those festivals with.
This is Witch Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most of them. I
was amazed. We heard all that in Namibia, always the kind of bands they pulled. Wow.
Yeah.
I think it was during the Left Hand Path. Now, Paul was saying that he was so starstruck. I actually went up and I spoke to them, and I was shocked. These guys from Entombed have day jobs. I was shocked. I was like, what? You're such big stars. How the hell do you have day jobs? And they were all laughing. They thought it was hilarious. And so, yeah, well, little did I know, you know. So,
not much different to us, eh?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Just a different place.
Who is Witch Doctor Productions?
Sean. I can't remember his surname. But his name was Sean. And Alec from Sacrifist. Alex
Surridge, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Alex Surridge, yeah. And then they went into a partnership, but at the end of the Witch Doctor's stunt, you know, so I still chat to Alec. Well, I haven't chatted to Alec in about 2 or 3 years, maybe. But yeah, the last time we spoke, he was out of Witch Doctor. The usual business doesn't work kind of vibe. So
he's big time into Chaos Doctrine now.
Yes.
Witch Doctor Productions. So I mean, they did quite a bit for South African metal.
They did. They did. Yeah. They pulled some weight. I know for a fact that they, you know, being close, I know that they've spent ludicrous amounts of money to get these bands here. But
They couldn't have made a profit.
Some shows very successful, others very shit. You know, so I think it was the second time that they brought Entombed over. Entombed played at Doors, and a lot of people didn't pitch up for that show because they're not, typical South African mindset. Oh, I've seen
That's typical. Yeah.
It must have cost them a fucking fortune, bro. To bring
it probably did, and that's why I don't think financially it was as successful as they hoped to be. But at that point in time, they kind of disappeared off the scene. So.
Before we go into the final stretch with Sacrifist, I really want to finish off the Sacrifist interview, but I want to ask, there's two other bands that I feel, personally for me, and that's why I guess I'm raising it, I've overlooked so many times because I knew nothing about them, and you guys played with them so many times. I would say the one band would definitely be Aggro or Aggro Grannies before, and then the second band would be like Dead Reckoning or somebody.
Dead Reckoning were fantastic, it was great, Dead Reckoning and Aggro, we did quite a few shows with at the end of Debauchery and then going into Jaded Jane. And I knew Cliffy before Aggro. I was at I think the first show in Rocky Street. I remember there, and I just remember Cliffy walking out with a big cigar and everything else, and I was like, fantastic. And then, they came on to be really well established. Dead Reckoning, I didn't see much of the guys after that, but Aggro carried on from like where we left off. They carried on. They went bigger and bigger. So
if I recall correctly, I think Dean actually went to the UK while Dead Reckoning. I might be mistaken, but Dead Reckoning was his last stint in South Africa, so to speak. And then he left. The next thing he was in the UK. So
one of the guys from Dead Reckoning sent me this CD about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. He's living in something Western Cape Town now. Look at Aggro too. Now Aggro had something like 18 different fucking members in all the time that they started from the day they started. I mean, they started as Aggro Grannies way back, way back in the early days. We played quite a few concerts with them. I have to admit, they were a brilliant band.
They're a great band. I played more with Aggro in Jaded Jane days, and I don't think I ever played with them in Debauchery. I think maybe one or two, but more Jaded Jane.
We played plenty shows with him.
Yes, you guys did.
Lots.
We played
Paul, they've been around for longer than we would like to give them credit for. If you think about it, most of the bands lasted 2-3 years. Aggro was around for fucking long time, bro.
Many moons. I still reckon, what Cliffy is probably one of the best frontmen South Africa's ever had. He just had that spunk about him on stage. You wanted to watch the Oak because you don't know what the fuck he was going to do.
And
him and Francois.
Francois the two best. But also the thing about Cliffy, I knew him from in the early Debauchery days. He was always so bloody good looking, and it pissed me off.
Oh, Clifford Crab. You're talking about Clifford Crab, eh?
Crab,
And they've released a shitload of CDs, albums. They've released since 1995. They released like 1, 2, 3. They've released like 7 albums.
Yep.
No, they were very active. Very
active. I remember when Cliffy came back. I saw him at the East Rand Mall, and he had his satchel with him when we had lunch together. And it came from one of the speakers from Wacken. The actual satchel was made from one of the speaker covers and whatever. And he showed me that. It was pretty cool. They've got to do a lot more than I've ever done. So they were a good bunch of lads.
Yeah, many fond memories.
We played with them at obviously Opikopi. They played at Opikopi a few times or once or twice, and then they played at Woodstock. We played with them too. And even at Rumfest, we played with Aggro. So they were very much an underground band that they were always there.
Always there,
They had a power following, eh? They had a major following.
Mostly amongst the girls, I know that.
You could see, if Sacrifist or when Sacrifist and Aggro would play together. Look, there was a Sacrifist crowd and there was an Aggro crowd, and there was like an in between, that, and it was a mountain of people when the two of us played together, and you could see the aggro crowd and the Sacrifist crowd. It was like, West and East Germany.
So what is the difference between the two crowds, Paul?
I don't know. There was just
I think a level of loyalty, to be honest.
basically, yeah. No, that's it.
It had fuck all to do with music. It was just like, I don't like those guys as much as I like those guys, Or,
that's it, yeah.
Something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I stand corrected. My last couple of gigs with aggro was when I was in Monkey Finger. We actually played quite a few with them, and I remember doing quite a few around here. And I remember Cliffy and them pitching up. It was one of their launches in a limo and stuff like that. And it was that was here in Boxburg, I think. But that was very, very cool.
Yeah, they definitely had some swagger about them, and a very cool band, very, very cool band.
Yeah.
Where were they from? Were they
Alberton.
Alberton.
Yeah. Oh my God, Germiston, Alberton, that area.
Yeah.
Yep.
We used to party together regularly at someone's house, mostly at Shane's place, and then we had some parties, some wild shit going on. It was just, it was crazy times. Living the rock star, so to speak.
When Sacrifist first started playing some gigs with bands in Joburg, there were some bands that I see on flyers that appear all the time, but there's nobody's mentioning them today. But they were part of the scene, at that time.
There was a lot. There was one thing on the in-house label that we've never mentioned, and I haven't heard. Do you guys remember Axe?
Of course.
Yes.
We're not allowed to make. You must, Justin, be cutting this out because I only learned because Paul told me he was actually married to the chick of Axe, so that cuts that conversation.
Okay, sorry.
She's been very willing to do an interview with the Strider guys and stuff like that, and she apparently did some vocals. And
the one thing I remember about Axe was the Scottish drummer, the ginger girl. Holy crap!
Oh yes, shit. What was her name?
Denny.
No, I remember that. Yeah,
Denny or something, wasn't it? If I remember.
Can't remember.
The chick from Axe, what was her name again? She was from Eastern Cape. We played with Axe. VOD played with Axe at least 5-6 times in the whole Philip.
No, she wasn't. She was from fucking Heidelberg in Transvaal.
Heidelberg or somewhere, yeah.
That's why
all I know now, she's called Lady Axe, and she does like very black metal type stuff.
No, it's like weird shit.
She lives in Belgium or somewhere out there, and
she's overseas somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, the last time I saw her. But that's essentially how I got to know Paul, was through her, because we were school buddies. And
was she married to Paul at that time?
No, not yet. We were still in school. And then she got the gig with In-House. She got signed to In-House, and then I don't know who jumped on who here, but Paul was in the picture. And then I had buddies who went to her house, because of the out in those small towns, there's not really a lot of metal going on there. Heavy conservative vibes going on. So the 10 metalheads there are obviously the 10 devil worshippers and all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
So all of us used to end up at her place and just like shoot shit and listen to metal and all that. And then she got the gig and met Paul, and eventually some buddies of mine told me about Paul, and I was like, who the hell is Paul? I don't know who Paul is. No, it was a guy from Joburg. Oh, okay, cool. And then I eventually met him, and basically that's how I got into the band. I had to go to the army for the last intake, and then I think after I came out of the army, that's when the band basically picked up. Our first show was something that Paul's mom organized.
Sammy's telling you about our very first show. Now listen to this. We're a 3-piece band. Okay? It's myself, Michael, and Sammy. That's it. I think we've managed to write maybe half of one song.
No, it was 3 songs. It was
three songs, yes. And we learned Enter Sandman.
Ah.
So,
That's playing it safe, Matthew.
so this, I don't know, this one woman that worked with my mom, it was her boyfriend's 21st birthday or
No,
something.
it was
like
her 21st.
her 21st. And I remember this guy was this big fucking Muay Thai champion. You know, he was fighting a tournament somewhere, and we were playing. My mom organized us this show, right? We can play, and we can have as much beer as we want. Sammy, you can carry on.
Good deal. That's a good deal.
So it was actually quite funny because now we started playing, and around about the third song, you're usually way over the butterflies and all that sort of cuck. And what happened was, I think it was about 10 o'clock at night, roundabout. But now we've been playing these 3 songs like 15 times, and we're just having a jolt. We're enjoying ourselves, And then the one neighbor pops over his wall and he starts yelling at us when it was quiet, And he goes like, "For fuck's sake, enough is enough." And that was our first show. And then I think afterwards, that's when we got our first gig with Retribution at Alcatraz, I think it was.
Alcatraz,
yes.
Yeah, and then the band.
Club Image. It could have been Club Image. Yeah.
That was, can I tell you a little bit of a story? When we got the band fully together, and this is the weirdest thing. I was thinking about it the other day. Remember, I told you the story on how I got into Retribution Denied with Bradley walking across the road, and I shit you not. This is it actually blew my mind when this came to me. I was walking I was basically on the same spot, same road, also walking there, and Andre, who then became our bassist, Andre Liebenberg, he was walking with his guitar, and it was the bass version of the guitar that I had. And I went to him and I said to him, "Can you play that thing?"
Be there on Saturday.
That's it. And he was there. And I fucking not. Look, from when we started Sacrifist, writing songs, playing live, playing the Battle of the Bands, and winning the Battle of the Bands, 6 months.
Fuck me.
Yeah, it was about.
Good going, bro.
Yeah, I was in the band. Then Andre joined about 3 months later. And then 3 months later, we played one of the fucking Battle of the Bands, and it was
Winged Beatbar. And which we won.
And then afterwards things just carried on and gigging.
Yeah. From winning that Battle of the Bands actually got us the headline for Entombed.
Yes. Yes, if I recall correctly, yeah.
So who actually started Sacrifist?
Paul and Michael did, and then I joined about a year later.
So we were actually Retribution Denied. We were doing all of us, Debauchery, you guys, we were all doing our album launch at the Summer Club. And I ran into Michael. Michael came to the show, and Michael and myself were in school together. We were in the same class. And I remember he was playing drums, and I said to him, "Dude, I've got this idea. I'm doing this heavy shit, but I want to do this creator-ish type of stuff." And, he's also into that. And this is what I want to do. Let's hook up. And it just happened. It happened, and we did it.
Paul, who came up with the name?
I did.
Why? Yeah. Why did you come up with Sacrifist? What?
Tell them what it is.
So initially the band was going to be called Sarcophagus.
I would not have joined the band.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so I was looking through some book, and I saw this word Sacrifist, and I checked what it actually is, and I thought, oh fuck, okay, this sounds good, So my understanding is basically it is a sacrifist is somebody that represents Jesus at a black mass.
Who commits a sacrifice or
Thank God my mom never found out.
Did you feel that was more your band than you felt more at home, or it was more your creation than Retribution?
Look, I don't know. I think Sacrifist was quite everybody made decisions. It wasn't, this oak was the band, this oak was the band, this oak. Everybody made decisions. I can tell you one thing. The band basically exploded when Sammy came into the band, because that man is a phenomenal songwriter. So I wouldn't say I ever felt that it was my band. Look, I did start the band. I sort of like came up with the idea, but the idea grew with everybody as they joined the band.
Yes.
And the whole idea was there, but I can't say the idea stayed the same for very long, because as time grew, our likes in bands and new bands coming out was ever changing. And the style was ever changing. So if you listen to the band from 1993 till 8 years ago, you'll hear a lot of change. So I would never say I would ever feel that I would say Sacrifist was my band. I would certainly say Sacrifist is my band and Sammy's band and Michael's band. That I would say, because there were a shitload of other members in and out.
The first album that Sacrifice launched was in 1995, called When the Tide Turns.
I think that was before. I think that was like 93, eh?
Yeah, so, we actually published it in 93.
And your last album was 2016, was Tyranny, So, I mean, you guys released, VOD released one fucking album. Let's put it in factual perspective here.
But it was a cool album.
You guys released 5 fucking albums, okay?
Yeah.
So, for me, that is absolutely, I'm in awe of that.
Mind blowing, yeah.
Look, I can tell you, Sacrifist had a lot of water under the bridge. There were a lot of members in and out. I mean, I was in and out the band once or twice, 3 times maybe, if I remember correctly, and twice, yeah. And Sammy, I think there was a time where Sacrifist was playing and none of us were in the band.
Yeah. No, that's not true. No, it was Andre and Johan.
Andre and Johan, yeah.
Yeah. So.
No, but I'm sure there was a time where not even Andre and Johan were in the band.
No. There was always some original member in the band, but not all the original members.
Yeah.
I remember time, Sammy, when it was just you, I think.
And Michael.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah. Sorry.
And all the times that Paul and Michael wasn't in the band, it was me and Andre, or Andre and I. And then it's got quite a lineup change and all that sort of stuff.
A band is a bigger creation. It's a personality on its own, and it isn't. And that's how some bands have managed to survive. It will be always great to have the original members in the band. Yes, like we saw the Black Sabbath fucking reunion and all that crap. But a band is an entity in its own, and what you guys just mentioned now, there's times when you guys weren't even in the band yourself, but the band continued. So it became a creation on its own, and it stood on its own.
It is. I also never felt like, as far as I'm concerned, each and every single member brings something into a band. Yep. Like, for instance, I would come up with the songs and I would show the guys or let them listen to whatever. Hey, check this riff out. I recorded this riff. What do you think of that? Yeah, cool. That sounds cool. Let's do a little bit of this. Okay, happiness, you know. And then, you know, what kind of lyrics do we want for this song? I don't know. Not Kumbaya, I guess. Whatever you want to do. And it usually turns out to be like, yeah, I like that. Or, you know, like for instance, the last album, well, let's start at the first album. The first album was basically
When the Tides Turn.
Yeah, When the Tides Turn.
The tides have turned.
When the tides have turned, yeah, I can't even remember. But that was like a collection of songs that we had since day one, since inception, basically. So Paul and Mike went to go and record 2 songs at JP at B-Shop. And then we added, I think it was 4 or 3 songs after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then only we released it as an album. And then afterwards, I think I left the band. Paul left the band first. A few years went past, and then I left the band.
Your next album was in 1999. That's 4 years later. Liquid Sessions. Yeah.
Liquid Seasons.
That was, I think there was none of the original besides Johan.
Andre and Johan was in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Only Johan and Johan and Andre were part of the band then. They released that album. And then after that band sort of disbanded.
No, that's not quite true. What happened was they were recording another album, and that's when Paul and myself hooked up after years of not seeing each other. One New Year's.
5 years later.
In our drunken state.
No.
Sorry?
It was 5 years later. It was 2004.
Yeah, around about, yeah. So we hooked up then, and then what happened was we were on our way. We're still in Four Ways. I remember it was in Four Ways somewhere. We were still on our way to go and celebrate New Year's somewhere. And in our drunken state, we decided, no, we're taking Sacrifist on again. And then what happened was on the way down to the car, let's phone Michael here if Michael's keen. And I picked up the phone, I phoned Mike, and he says, Mike had tragedy in his life at that point. I think his father just passed. And he just said, fuck it, why not? And we had the name register. Michael had a company, some record company or something like that. I can't even remember what it was all. Pyramid Records or something like that, and we had the name registered. So and then from there the other part of Liquid Seasons basically went their own way. That's how I remember.
Was that also with B-Shop?
I think Liquid Seasons was done at B-Shop. Yes, because JP still played solo on one of the songs. Sorry. So, and then from there, we started getting back into the scene. And then Paul left. Again.
Well, you did the next album about a year later, which was 2004. You released The Wall of Sacrifice.
Yeah, Wall of Sacrifice, yeah.
Yep. And then another 4 years later passed, and you released Surrealist Plague.
Yeah, Surrealist Plague. And then after that one, it was Tyranny. So
that was like 10 years later. That was like 2016, bro.
Yeah, around about, yeah. The last one was about 2016, round about.
So what were you guys doing in between? So let me just cut back here. So when you guys did When the Tides Turned, right, and you guys sort of wandered off, and you said the 2 other guys carried on with the band, and you were quite happy with that. You were happy with that, and then when you came back for Liquid Seasons.
It's actually the whole split between the 2 eras, so to speak, between that side of Sacrifist and this side of Sacrifist. It wasn't really a nice and friendly split.
You and Paul, the 2 guitarists, split.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were left with the rhythm section and the vocalist. Yeah.
During what time?
The bassist and vocalist.
Oh yeah, with the bassist. Yeah. Sorry, okay, I'm with you now.
And the drummer, yeah.
So yeah, and then during that time, Paul and myself got together and we got the name registered with Mike, and we basically sort of like took back the name legally. So they were busy recording an album of some sort, and they had to like release the album on a different name. I don't even know if that album got released. I'm not sure.
Go down to the nitty gritty where it was like not a legal thing, but this is very Joburg for me, bro. So the guys who did Liquid Seasons, right? So you guys then parted company, right?
Yeah, essentially.
And then you formed a legal entity on your own, taking back the name of Sacrifist.
Yeah, 100%.
So when you released the Wall of Sacrifice in 2004, were they part of that? Or
no, not at all, none whatsoever. But the three original members, excluding Andre, was involved in that project. Yeah. So yeah, no, it was nasty. It was a very nasty experience. Then what happened was, lots of gigs in between. And, we were still taking the band as it's a fun thing to do. It was never a serious thing. Although we all had the best intentions of making a success out of it, but it was, just to give an example of how funny it was, we were called Sacrifist at some point because we were permanently drunk. So it was just a piss-up contest. And then eventually, Mike said to us one day, Jesus, guys, I needed to go to the hospital because there was something wrong with me. And they told me, no, there's too much bloody alcohol in your blood. So from there onwards, we started like going like, okay, cool. What are we doing here? Are we wasting our lives, or are we really in love with metal music? Do we want to make it, or do we want to just live the lifestyle?
So, Sammy, that's when you guys did the Wall of Sacrifice.
Around about.
You're talking about this time now, right?
Yeah, just before, maybe about 2 or 3 years before the album release. So this was a prelude to the Wall of Sacrifice, so to speak.
All new material written between
everything new.
Basically between you and Paul, you guys wrote new material, complete new material.
I wasn't that much part of from that album. I would say maybe a year or so before that, I left the band again, and after that, I was out of the band permanently.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Now I remember. So there's so many members, dude. I'm trying to keep track of everybody.
Because so much happened.
Where did you go, Paul? After you left the band, where did you go?
Basically, I was trying to get a business off the ground, and there's a lot of things, it was just a lot of things. There was a lot of
musically. You weren't doing any other projects at that time.
No, that was me. Look, in and between after that, I would join a little band here, and Oaks asked me, come do some session work here, or come play some 1 or 2 shows with us here. Look, I was part of a couple of bands after that, but nothing serious. It's nothing that I knew would ever be serious. It's nothing that I wanted to be serious, because I think I was done with the music scene. I was done with it. I've been part of it for so long, and I don't know. I think I just had enough of it.
James said in the last interview, he said when Retribution was fucking around as Yuppie Paris, oh God, I'm not YPTF. I'm not going to get the fucking name right now. Okay, and then when they met Paul, he brought rigting in Afrikaans, rigting, like direction, into the band. He started structuring the band. They started making sense. But what I'm hearing here, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I think Paul feels the same way when you came into the band. You started taking over most of the songwriting, because like Paul said, you were a songwriter of note.
Thank you.
In the beginning of the band, Sammy and I did a lot of songwriting.
A lot of collab,
yeah, because we write differently. Sammy is a rhythm guitarist, and in my mind, and I'll say it in his face, the best in this country. The best I've ever worked with. And, we gelled well together. He writes what he writes. I can compliment. That's how we work together.
Everybody brings something. It's even if it's a stupid idea, like instead of playing just go to a minor instead of a sharp. So oh shit, that actually puts new life into that riff. So everybody contributes, even the drummer.
Yeah.
There are oh shit.
Even the drummer.
Yeah. Paul, who's been ultimately the vocalist of Sacrifist?
In the beginning,
initially you.
Yeah. Then Johan Liebenberg.
Yeah.
Okay. Then he left. Then we got in Darren Horn. He sang for a band, Rapture. I don't know if you guys recall, Justin.
I've seen the name, but I know nothing about them. Yeah, I know
Rapture. I tell you, Justin. Darren's got a set of pipes on him, But he played a couple of gigs with us. I can't remember how many. Then we got in Jacques. Was it one? We got in Jacques. Jacques did quite a bit in Sacrifist. He also passed away last year, I think it was.
Yeah, that was last year, yeah.
Yeah. Jacques, and then from there, Sammy would know. I think it was Dwayne, eh?
Yeah, so we played a gig in Pretoria with a band called Funeral God. And, very, very, very
black
heavy.
metal.
Yeah, black metal-ish band, yeah.
Black metal
I think
band,
not 100% sure. I'm just going to stick with this. And we heard the vocalist. Mike and myself were standing around and listening to the band, and Mike said to me, "Fuck, this guy's really good." And I was like, "Yeah, no, I fucking dig his voice." Eh? And we just took a chance one night. Oh yes, this is what happened. On the Well of Sacrifice, Jacques didn't perform so well on his vocals in the studio. Live is a different ballgame. He screeches like a banshee, but in the studio, it was a bit of a different story. So, we were sitting with something that's already complete. It just needs vocals. And we discussed it, and we thought, okay, cool. I had Dwayne's number at that point. I phoned him up and I asked him, "Listen, dude, this is the situation. Would you like to come and do vocals on the Well of Sacrifice?" And he said, "Yeah, sure, when?" And I gave him a date, and I said to him, "Can we pay you anything for your troubles?" And his reply was a kidney steak pie and a Coke.
And that's the band. You did some work with the guy from Funeral God.
Yes.
In Namibia.
I had the pleasure of playing with Charles Dupree in a band in Namibia.
Oh, that's Charles. Yeah, no.
I'm not going to.
Charles. Charles, the guitarist.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
Okay, now I remember Charles. Yes, I remember him now.
I'm not going to say more. It'll become derogatory.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, anyways, we got Dwayne in on a weekend. He did the album overlays and everything. I think within an hour. It was done within an hour. We were so fucking impressed. And Michael came to me again. He said, "Fuck, we need to get this guy in our band." And I was like, "Fuck, dude, how are we going to do that?" And I remember Dwayne, when I started talking to him, I just said, thanks, the band's very impressed with your work and blah, blah, blah. And it took quite a bit of communication. And I know at that time, he was also having issues with said person, previously stated person. And he just decided, you know what, fuck it, join Sacrifist. And he was in Sacrifist until the end. One of the, this guy was something else. He had no breaks. It was just one of the best. He's probably my favorite vocalist, death metal vocalist in South Africa. He's just that fucking good.
That's Dwayne Coetzee, eh?
Yeah, Dwayne Coetzee. You would really think in a studio now, if you stand there and you do an entire album in one take, you would reckon, at some point your voice does get fucked up. Not with him. He just carries on. It's like it's a natural, beyond natural. It's almost like he's a fucking alien.
Was Funeral God related to, I can never say the fucking name, were they related to Mjolnir?
Mjolnir.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. It's possible, but I don't think so.
Cross paths. If I remember talkings from the practice room, Mjolnir, the name did drop a couple of times. There was something there.
I got to tell you guys, between the Surrealist Plague and the Tyranny album, we were lucky enough to go and tour Germany for a full month. And then we ended up having a show in Switzerland. And we started at the north of Germany all the way around.
Whoa. Stop here. You're talking about Sacrifist now?
Yes.
Sacrifist Germany?
Yeah, no, for a whole month. So my 16-year-old was a month old, and then we left for a month. So it was quite an experience and a half. You come back to South Africa and you reckon, like, God damn, we got so much to learn. But in the same breath, their club shows are the same as our club shows. There's a lot to learn, and there's a lot to, like, you don't need to worry about this shit. It's the same.
So some of you guys obviously had to finance out of your own pockets, eh?
Yes. Everything was financed itself, But at that point,
Which year was this runabout, Sammy?
My wife says 2009.
Okay.
So yeah, I've got those dates right.
How did you connect up with the scene in Germany? Did you guys just go on a whim, or did you just?
Okay, we were managed by Grim Music.
Okay. Is that a distribution label?
No, Grim Music was just a local label. I was just a local guy, and he managed. No, that wasn't Yvonne's husband. Sorry, the Peanut Gallery chiming in here.
She probably knows more than we remember, bro.
Yeah, but it's not her story to tell. So, anyways, he was the tour. We got there, and seeing that Michael is German. He organized so many things for us, like for free. He's like staying at family for free. I think one night out of the month we slept in the van, and the rest of the nights we were at family, and it was just amazing.
Where was your first gig in Germany then?
The first one in Switzerland.
Okay.
Right next to the mountain, there was this huge lake. That's all I remember. And in that place.
Oh, Geneva. Yeah. What's his name? Yeah.
And and then all over the place. We played in a club where Judas Priest apparently played as well. So that was quite the adventure, just to be there. And it's like, shit, Judas Priest stood where I'm standing right now. It was like, wow.
So you guys did a month in Germany, basically. That's like a short of a month. So how many gigs did you do? Like
I was quite a few, I think. Oh gosh, dude, no, I can't remember, but it was quite a few. And I think one of them was a booked gig. It wasn't advertised or something like that. I remember one in a very small place where some record executive came to check us out, but it was so freaking hot in there. It was like 45 degrees, and we were dripping with sweat. Only imagine what the crowd was. He left, so I can't blame the guy. I would have 2 songs in, I would have like, fuck this, I'm out.
So Sammy, who was part of that tour from a Sacrifist point of view? Was Paul, you were in the band then? Or?
No, Paul was unfortunately not in 10. So basically what happened was it was Michael, myself, Dwayne, Byron, and Sean.
Bro,
Sean was our bass.
I have to give you fucking credit for that. That is pay for all of that out of your own fucking pockets from South Africa. That is a big.
Yeah, it was like 50K per person.
Yeah,
roundabout.
And for 2 days it was
yeah, no, it was a shit lot of money, but happily paid it because it was
roughly what year?
Around about 2009, according to my wife.
Wow.
Go with it, Sammy. You're safer that way.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. Thanks for the advice. So yeah, happy wife, happy life. Yeah, I hear it. Yeah, no, that was.
And how was the reception, my brother?
That was fucking insane, dude. It was.
Yeah.
I remember playing this one gig, and we covered for a very long time. We played Creeping Death live, and when these guys heard, they were all like happy and all go lucky. And we played Creeping Death at this one gig as our final song, and fuck, this place just went. It exploded. I've never seen anything like that. So we were all like, what the fuck is going on here, dude? People are like on the stage, and it's just apeshit, dude. It was crazy.
So where was your biggest gig in Germany at that time?
It was that show. That show was definitely the biggest gig.
Where was that? Was that is that the German show or Swiss show? Or?
Yeah, it's one of the German shows. I can't remember where it was. Don't ask me where it was. But yeah, that was a Germany gig. The Switzerland gig was pretty tame.
Yeah.
It wasn't like wow or anything like that. It was just a nice get together. We're here now in Europe, chill, take a gig, and relax and have some beers. But
my brother, people don't realize how much effort. The Europeans don't realize how much the effort that takes from us South Africans to be able to do something like that. Fuck me.
Yeah.
No,
they got no fucking clue how much, from a visa point of view and a money point of view, to do something like that. It's almost unfathomable.
Yeah.
I mean,
we rocked up there. I think it was 2 weeks after Wacken. So. People were, I guess they were hungry, I suppose. Look, make no mistake, some gigs were greater than others, but it was still cool. I mean, selling your shit from South Africa, German dude. Basically, how the band broke up was like, like I said, we had band practice. Dwayne came out. He said the first thing before that, I started actually, I'm sick of, fucking old dude. I'm tired of the shit, eh? Maybe it's like, I've got family now that I have, and Dwayne felt the same way. Michael felt Michael's kids were basically his house. He had kids very young. So for him, it was like so when the band broke up, we came out of the band room, we sat down, and Dwayne said he wants to speak to everybody, and it was literally of like, I can't do this anymore. And I thought, here we go. Now, no one can blame me for saying I broke up Sacrifist. It's like, fuck yeah, now's my...
How many years were you guys in the band by that time? So it was quite
25. That's 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was... around about 20, yeah, it was 25. Yeah.
Guys, thanks for making the time and telling us your story and stuff. This is like invaluable.
You guys,
info for our channel and our effort here. Great. It was so cool talking to you and hearing your side.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
That'll be it.
Have a good one. Yep.